86 Charles is brought to you by Amazon. Go to 86charles.com and click on the Amazon link. Amazon is the perfect place to start prepping for the end, now that the Donald is president. The apocalypse is nigh.
The Svalbard seed bank is aptly named the Doomsday Seed Vault. The seeds are preserved deep inside the mountain near the North Pole. The vault is designed to survive any global catastrophe, nuclear war, gene modification, and gene pollution. It is the location of an abandoned coal mine that is nearly 135 meters above the fjord below, so it is safe from rising sea waters should global warming cause them to increase.
You are full of bullshit, my friend. I will sue you for everything you have. I will sue your ass.
Welcome to 86 Charles, with your hosts John Darby and Travis Spencer.
And with that, welcome to 86 Charles. Travis Spencer. Hello, sir.
John Derby, so great to hear your voice. It's been a hot minute. How the hell have you been?
I've been good. And it has been kind of hot for at least a minute. So that is a very accurate assessment of how long it's been.
Well, global warming is here, my friend. There's nothing we can do unless we make ice somewhere, but let's not even get into that.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I know someone who's adamantly opposed to that, so...
I see that you wanted to stay on the
solution.
ice theme, though, obviously, this week.
Well, it has more to do with the seed storage vault, but yes, it is definitely an ice related story. But my interest comes in the seed vault.
Right, which is awesome. I had no idea that there was a global seed vault in Sweden.
Yeah, no, I love it.
It's great. It's like Noah's Ark for plants. It's amazing.
It's not Sweden, it's Norway.
Oh, sorry. I mix up my Scandinavian countries. They're all the same.
How dare you not know where Svalbard is?
Oh, Svalbard. No, this is a little discerning. What they said the temperature rose 7 degrees Celsius this year, and they got below or above freezing, so the ice is melting.
Well, I'll go ahead and let me go ahead and read a little bit of this article to you. This is from 3 days ago. So this is pretty up to date. So Norway on Saturday said it would boost protection of a seed storage vault designed to protect the world's crop from disaster after soaring temperature caused water to leak into its entrance. Situated deep inside a mountain on a remote Arctic island in a Norwegian archipelago, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, dubbed the Doomsday Vault, is the largest of its kind and can store up to 2.5 billion seeds. Freezing temperatures inside the vault keep the seeds sealed in packages and stored on shelves, usable for a long period of time. Permafrost and thick rock should guarantee the seeds are frozen and secured for centuries. But in October 2016, the warmest year on record, melting permafrost caused water to leak about 15 meters into the entrance of a 100-meter tunnel inside the vault. No damage was caused, and they remained safe inside the vault at the required storage temperature of -4 degrees Fahrenheit. But now the vault's manager is constructing a waterproof wall inside for additional protection. The vault currently stores more than 880,000 seed samples for nearly every country in the world, including food staples such as maize, rice, wheat, cowpea, and sorghum from Africa and Asia. It also protects European and South American varieties of aubergine, lettuce, barley, and potatoes. There are 1,700 gene banks around the world that safeguard collections of food crops, and many of these are exposed to natural disasters and wars. The Svalbard Vault was opened in 2008 with the aim to provide a fail-safe seed storage facility built to stand the test of time and the challenge of natural or man-made disasters. And as a side note, which I didn't know, each country that deposits the seeds into the vault have control and access to their own material. So that's what's going on in Svalbard.
I don't necessarily believe in allowing other people to get into your seed vault. Like, because if my personal seed vault, for instance, like that's just my seed. You know, like it's my seed.
But no one
in
is
the freezer.
concerned if that.
Nobody is
be...
depositing other seed into my vault, and nobody's allowed into my vault. Like that's just a personal thing. But
First of all, no one believes that you haven't received deposits. No one believes that.
I've
Secondly,
had a seed vault.
if your seed was to be washed clean from the earth, would only benefit mankind.
I've had a seed vault since 1997, John. And I saw global warming coming, so I use a freezer. Like, come on, it's 2008 and they're starting a seed vault. Like, we knew global warming was happening in 2008. Oh, what'll be the safest place in the world? How about on this block of ice that's going to melt in 10 years? Use a freezer, guys. That's what I do.
Right, but then where do you put the freezer?
Well, you have
Where
to
it's safe.
You have to plug it into a good electric outlet. You need probably
Why not build it into a freezer?
probably a generator backup, So you do, several layers of freezers. I have one freezer inside of another freezer inside of another freezer, John. I'm really saving my seed, okay?
Yeah, cool. Your seed is a Russian nesting doll. That's awesome.
Exactly. And it's hooked up to a generator, so when the hits the fan, I'll be good for, 48 hours until I can find more gasoline or whatever it takes, or the grid comes back, I've thought it all out, John. I've really thought it all out.
It's actually my fault. I should have known with this topic that you would have immediately made it about yourself and not at all about the actual seed story.
This is what's wrong with socialism, John. Just like I said, like letting other people
it's
into
more
your
what's wrong
seed
with
vault.
you.
Oh, great. Let's just let everybody. Oh, yeah, great. And like people aren't going in there like mixing seed and like just, seeding all over the place with other people's seed. Oh, they mislabel seed. There's a lot of problems with what they've done here. I just thought they could have foreseen it since they, it was built in 2008. I mean, I guess it was opened in 2008, so it was probably under construction a few years before that. But come on, man. We had the internet in 2006. We all knew global warming was coming.
Point of the entire story was, and especially going back to the last episode, was that global warming keeps screwing things up, and melting ice is a big deal. This was specifically safeguarded to prevent any sort of flood or any sort of water leakage if global warming was in fact melting the ice around it. And it was still fine. So, I mean, it was still successful, but it at least showed a vulnerability. Nothing's safe, man. It's all going to melt. We're all going to die in flood. It's over. It's all over.
Man, you're so negative. Just so like.
But that's the point. Is like even the safest place that was designed to be the safest place.
I don't know if it's the
It's
safest
not
place.
safest.
I don't know if it's the safest place. And plus,
Well, for what they're trying to do to maintain frozen seeds.
right,
we
but the
feel like
Earth
it
is
should
just
be.
going to recycle itself. So, like, okay, great. All the North Pole ice is going to melt, and then we're going to have, like, a West Pole and an East Pole when it starts over again and we change poles. Like,
We won't be here for that, my friend.
I'll be around because my seed vault is very strong. So my progeny will be around because I have triple freezer storage backed up by generator seed vaults, bro. Dug into the ground. Very strong. Very strong. Sound like Trump. Ugh.
I was just saying.
Very strong
I was
vaults.
like, wow, you sound like another idiot.
I have the best seed storage, John. I have the best seed storage. Where am I supposed to go with this story? That's all I've got. I got no other I'm not going to sit here and argue about ice anymore with you.
No, of course not. That was never the point.
We've burned that
It
cube.
was never my intention.
You're trying to bait me. I know what you're trying to do.
Absolutely not.
So,
I
of
would
course,
never bait you.
I thought about going the Noah's Ark direction, but then, personal jizz bank is way more exciting than Noah's Ark, so I had to run with it. I'm sorry, America.
Cool.
Sorry.
You were being so subtle before. I'm glad you cleared up what you were actually talking about.
Oh, wait. Did you not know what I was talking about?
God.
And when I said you were
Done. Hey,
when I said you were baiting me,
good luck, Svalbard. We need you.
Svalbard,
Good luck.
Yes, nice work. At least, okay, so now that it has shown vulnerabilities, let's just make it stronger. Keep your seed bank strong. Hit me up at Company Blaster if you need any techniques in making your seed bank strong.
Hashtag keep your seed bank strong.
Powerful, John. Powerful.
Rain comes down like it always does. This time I've got seeds on ground.
And I don't know where I'm gonna sleep tonight.
Seeds of love, to seeds of lettuce, seeds of rust and leaves and flowers, seeds of rain.
What are the three greatest podcasts of all time? 86 Charles. 86 Charles. 86 Charles. They spit hot fire!
Let's get ready to 86 Charles!
Oh, you never see this firebomb coming at you.
Done, you piece of shit.
Nah.
Nickel.
Nickel, what? 5 topics currently trending. Travis, do you want to hear about stem cells in mice?
Stem cells are amazing, yes.
Transplanted stem cells become eggs in sterile mice. With an assist, an old mouse might be able to make new eggs. Sterilized female mice produced healthy babies after receiving a transplant of egg-generating stem cells from another mouse. Researchers report, if such a procedure worked in humans, still a distant prospect, it could help women with early menopause or chemotherapy-induced infertility to conceive. These egg-generating cells are germline stem cells, precursors that become either eggs or sperm depending on whether they end up in ovaries or testes. While male germline stem cells differentiate or become specialized throughout a man's life to produce a steady supply of new sperm, a woman's are believed to differentiate into a stockpile of eggs during a relatively narrow time frame before she's even born. Some recent studies have begun to question that conventional wisdom, though the idea that germline stem cells could still exist in women after birth is controversial. So there you go. A new way to make new people that'll probably be just as awful as the old people.
This is great news, John, because just in case my own personal seed bank happens to be sterile, I can now just throw some stem cells in it. So now I have to make a second seed bank of stem cells. That way I can just top off my other seed bank, and then I'm good, right? Because I'm a 34-year-old man. I don't have any babies. It's possible, man. I have to confront the possibility that I'm sterile. But if I can get some stem cells and I put it in a separate seed bank and we mix the two when the time comes, I should be good, right?
I'm gonna say
That's how you go. You just you get like a whiskey shaker, just a shaker, like a bartender shaker, right? Put on some ice.
Well,
stem
but
cells
again, in like whiskey, you would more likely want to stir that.
Exactly. Never shake whiskey. Good call, John. But I'm saying like a shaker. Like I could just throw the stem cells in with my seed bank.
Yeah, no, I get it.
We're good. This is amazing. But as you said, it just might make more terrible people. So,
right. I think that's the end result. But I think it'll help. If it comes to fruition for humans, it'll definitely help some people that deserve to have children.
Do you ever
That's
really
for
think
sure.
about that? Like what the race of humans would be like if we didn't have all these medical marvels, like if evolution actually carried out like it was supposed to? Or is it more that like our information and our intelligence has allowed us to evolve in that way?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Would the species be different if we didn't have all these medical breakthroughs to allow people who would never normally be able to have children? Has that have we gone off the path of actual evolution, or is the actual evolution us allowing everybody to have children?
Well, I think the science portion of it is probably part of our natural evolution, because just being a human, everything in us is driven towards sustaining life, maintaining life, extending life. That's just a natural human thing. We'll never get rid of that. We'll always be in pursuit of that. I mean, you're born with an inherent fear of death.
Right.
But do I think it would have a significant impact on the overall population? No, just because we're grossly overpopulated as it is. I have to imagine it's a fairly small percentage of people that exist because of technologies in this same category.
Right, but it would help quite a bit, I'm sure. It would knock down on the Overpopulation.
I mean, sure, don't get me. Hey, even if it's 1%, if you lost 1% of the planet, that is a significant amount of people.
Yeah, and I guess.
But are we still overpopulated? Yeah, for sure.
I wish we had computers or something or Google to let us know that number, but I just don't have time for it. But it is a fascinating thought to think, because I like to think we'd be a stronger, more virile group of savages.
Well, but the implication is then that everyone that comes from, I mean, for lack of a better term, an unnatural birth, we'll say that's to say that they're different or weaker or something, and I don't think that that's necessarily true.
We need a database. We need to know everybody who was a stem cell or
how many kids that are born naturally all have all sorts of peanut allergies and things that they could die, strawberry allergies and things that they could die right away.
Anytime a parent goes through, parents a couple goes through the whole deal of going to the doctor repeatedly to get pregnant. Usually they only have one or two outside of the crazy things where they have 8 or 9. Right. So the percentage has to be very low. And most
people that can afford those sorts of procedures, I mean, no offense to anybody, but maybe they should be having kids.
Well, yeah.
If you can afford hundreds of thousands of dollars to get pregnant, yeah, maybe you can probably afford to take care of a kid.
You can imagine that they're probably pretty good parents if they went through that much work to have a baby in the first place, as opposed to
it at least shows that it wasn't that no one. It's not that someone got knocked up. They really wanted to do that. They planned for it.
18-year-old crack babies, right? Or 14-year-olds having crack babies or whatever, right?
Right. Or yeah.
All right, good. I'm glad I postulated that question for you, John. You did a good job of parsing it.
Oh, good.
Let's move on, though.
So glad I could please you.
Let's move on to injections of the love hormone could help spread kindness between strangers. An experiment was conducted among wild gray seals given shots of the hormone oxytocin, known to forge emotional bonds between mothers and babies and romantic partners. Scientists found that after the jabs, newly introduced seals instantly hit it off, seeking out each other's company and keeping physically close. Levels of aggressive behavior also dropped under the hormone's influence. Despite receiving small doses of oxytocin, the changed behavior of the loved-up seals persisted for 2 days. This was unexpected since the hormone is quickly cleared from the bloodstream. Study leader Dr. Kelly Robinson from the University of St. Andrews wrote in the journal Proceedings of Royal Society B, seals given oxytocin spent significantly more time in close proximity to each other, confirming that oxytocin causes conspecifics, same species members, to seek each other out and remain close to one another. Aggressive and investigative behaviors also significantly fell after oxytocin manipulations. The study was 20 newly weaned seal pups from the Isle of May in Scotland were captured by the researchers and placed in 2 holding pens. Adult seals were not considered suitable for the study because of the likely possibility that they were already socially connected and their large size and aggressiveness. Pairs of seals from different pens were either given injections of oxytocin or salty water before being released back into the wild as their behavior was observed. The scientists concluded oxytocin manipulations have been subject to intense interest in the last decade due to the widespread occurrence of oxytocin in mammals, its far-reaching effects on behavior, including parental and social bonds, and potential to use the hormone to treat human psychological conditions. Despite this, no study has confirmed that behavioral changes that occur in laboratory manipulations also occur in natural environments, and many administered doses of oxytocin far exceeding endogenous levels. John, this is huge news. We've got another love drug. This is going to start a whole new rave scene, the oxytocin scene. Are you excited?
No.
Why not?
I hate to be conspiracy guy.
There you go.
But it just sounds like they're trying to come up with a way to manipulate us emotionally. And as nice as that sounds, hey, we could just be happy and in love all the time. That's not good, man.
And it said like investigative behaviors, so you're sniffing out the asshole in the group and you're going to kick him out, but no, now you take a shot of oxytocin and you're going to leave him in, and this dude turns out to be a rapist and a murderer as soon as the oxytocin wears on. You're absolutely right. It's horrible. This is a terrible idea.
I don't I'm never down for the manipulation of emotions.
No, this is like...
Because then you're talking about... Because you can't just be happy all the time. Like, that's just not you don't even want that. Because if you don't have the downside, you can't appreciate the upside. The upside becomes depressing at that point. Because there's no downside.
Right. Yeah, I'm listening to the book.
And I just hate the idea that chemically they're trying to figure out how to manipulate our emotions.
Have you ever read Brave New World?
No.
That's what it's all about. They dose people with soma every day, and everybody's so happy. So it's this utopia of, everybody loves each other, and it's so great. No, it just doesn't work. And then, of course, it all, it's a nightmare. It just doesn't work. So keep the oxytocin out of my ass, scientists. That's all I got to say. If I want to reach out and go get some ecstasy,
if you want to throw that in with something else, you want to lace some LSD or some ecstasy with that, all right, maybe we'll take it for a spin.
She doesn't need it.
But don't act like that's gonna. But that's not vitamin C.
MDMA and Molly and ecstasy, they're already, and even mushrooms are like that. When you're sitting in a room with people who you love,
right?
Them, you're like, wow. You're either terrified of them. Even weed, man. You smoke weed with a bad seed. Let's bring back the word seed. And you look around and you're like, I don't want to hang out with this dude anymore. I can't stand this dude. It's like, that's like a healthy level of love inducing where people who are good and people who are bad inherently. It's a weird thing, man. But as far as everybody's good, everybody's not good. So let's not play that game.
We can't all be in love with each other all of the time. That's not
bad news.
Work.
I feel bad for these seals. Now they're probably just going to get, they're going to go up to a shark and be like, hey, bro, dead.
That's what you get for trying to hug a shark.
Don't hug a shark. Hashtag don't hug a shark.
Hashtag don't hug a shark.
It's enough about love drugs, John.
Hey, Travis. Do you want to hear about the original love drug?
What?
This is the new best whiskey in the world, according to an international spirits competition. If you want to sip the finest whiskey in the world, the name you'll need to know is Whistle Pig.
Whistle Pig?
The Vermont Distillery's Boss Hog IV, the Black Prince bottle, was recently awarded the titles of Best in Show Whiskey and Best Rye Whiskey by the judges of the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. The fourth edition of Whistle Pig's Boss Hog line, the brand's premier top-of-the-line offering, the Black Prince, is a 100% rye whiskey bottled at cask strength, 124 proof, and finished in Armagnac barrels. It was aged 14 years. Whistle Pig isn't a distillery with a lot of history or pedigree. It was started in 2010 by former Apprentice contestant and failed congressional candidate Raj Bhakta, who opened the distillery at a 500-acre dairy farm in Vermont. It has since become one of the most awarded whiskey makers. Since Whistle Pig is obviously not yet old enough to have 15 or 10-year aged whiskeys, it buys its spirits wholesale and finishes them with the help of oak cut from their Vermont farm. The whiskey is not yet available for purchase, but when it is, it could be hard to come by because only 30 barrels are being produced, and it will retail for $500 a bottle.
Okay.
Get your Whistle Pig.
Yeah. But you wouldn't, John, this doesn't matter to you. Like, all you need is Jack Daniels, old number 7, and you'll be fine. You don't need fine whiskey.
I'll be fine. And I wouldn't spend $500 for a bottle of whiskey. But if someone were to offer me some, oh, you better believe I'm going to try it.
Have you ever had Whistle Pig at all?
No, I haven't.
I've had like the $75 bottle. Great bottle. Great bottle. One of those, it's like, that's the kind of whiskey you drink just with a cube in it at most. You don't mix it with Coke, John.
No,
like
of
you
course
and your
not.
Stupid Jack Daniels. Just real smooth. I like me a nice rye. This is not a surprise. Nothing surprises me.
See, you act like there's not tiers to drinking. You act like it's not. You act like it's, well, if you don't drink Whistle Pig all the time, you don't know good whiskey. Like, no, that's crazy talk.
No,
Whistle Pig should be a special occasion type whiskey. Or if you're just rich and that's just what you have.
But it's the same thing as wine. Like, it's the same thing as wine. You can find a great $10 bottle.
Of course.
Some places. You don't need to drop $3,000 for a bottle. And it's like, I drink too much to be worried about that, So you got to get a nice $26 bottle of Bullet Rye because that's in my wheelhouse, I can handle that. But I'm certainly not drinking Jack Daniels because I do have a taste. I do have taste buds in my mouth still, John. They still work.
I don't believe that.
Like, just your... still pissed off about your Jack Daniels thing. The audacity. The
Yeah, no,
audacity.
it's fine.
It's not even in the conversation.
Often, here's the thing. This is one of the few things I know about truth. Is it often hurts?
It's like saying, when I want a burger, I go to McDonald's. That's not.
No,
it's not a
that's
fucking burger, John. It's not
That's
even a
not true.
burger.
That's not even a comparison. If you're calling
same
Jack
exact thing.
Daniels the McDonald's of whiskeys, you're out of your mind.
That's exactly what I'm saying, and I'm dead right. The other thing is, like, I think Whistle Pig's amazing. I'm sure this whiskey is off the chain. But come on, in San Francisco, come on. Is that really the place where we're tasting whiskey? Let's go to fucking Kentucky with some good old boys who have drank whiskey since the day they were born. San Francisco, a lot of amazing things. Great, but what is it like?
Do you think the World Spirits Competition is going to get together in Paducah, Kentucky?
There should be.
I
I
don't
guarantee
think
there's
so.
some whiskey competitions. There's
I
some
don't think
whiskey
so.
competitions. It's Kentucky Straight Bourbon is what it's called, John. Rye isn't necessarily Kentucky Straight.
Right.
Or made in Kentucky at all.
But you said that they should go to
it's the
Kentucky,
birthplace
not
of
San
whiskey.
Francisco.
I'm just saying, if we're trying whiskey, let's talk with some good old boys who've been drinking whiskey since they were children.
This coming from the man with the super refined pal. I want to go lick a good old boy and talk whiskey.
These guys just like came off the wine farm and they decided whiskey was their next thing. San Francisco.
You want
Just
to
kidding.
head down to
San Francisco's
Kentucky,
fun.
get a deposit in your seed bank, and just get some good old whiskey.
Maybe why some of those seed bags have a low count because of all that whiskey, but we'll talk about that later. We've got stem cells coming. Everything's gonna be all right.
I think after all this whiskey talk, we need to do some driving. Do you have something for me, please?
Oh, driving. I was thinking more of landslides coming from a hard night of whiskeying.
I don't want a landslide after whiskeying.
John, California highway to be closed for months after the Big Sur landslide. A section of the highway winding along California's breathtaking Big Sur coastline will probably remain closed for months by damage from a massive landslide unleashed by a rain-soaked hillside over the Pacific. After the wettest winter on record in the state, the collapse marked the third major closure in Big Sur, a roughly 76-mile stretch of the Pacific Coast Highway that hugs California's rugged central coast between Cambria and Carmel by the Sea. The Big Sur portion of State Route 1 is designated as a National Scenic Byway for its spectacular coastal vistas and famed as one of the longest stretches of largely undeveloped shoreline in the continental United States. Saturday's slide, one of the region's largest in decades, deposited a mound of rocks and other debris some 35 feet deep along a quarter-mile section of the highway about 100 miles south of San Jose. An estimated 1.5 million tons of material was dumped onto the road and the shoreline below at Mud Creek and an area adjacent to the smaller side that had already closed the section of the highway. John, this is fucking tragic. Have you ever been on that road?
No.
Oh, it's so unbelievably beautiful. I can't even describe to you. It's just this windy road that cuts through, like, literally you have ocean on one side and forest on the other, and it's just unbelievably green and beautiful, and it's so breathtaking, John. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's incredible, and it's going to be closed for months, and I don't even, like, driving up through California when you have to take I-5 is a nightmare. The only way it's worth it is if you can take the Pacific Coast Highway. And now you can't do that because there's this giant closure for months, John.
It's
months.
a nightmare. It's fine.
Well, plus it's like you want to talk about, I mean, this is a good thing that we got all that rain and all the snow in California.
Right.
But, I mean, people living along the coast have always known that this is coming. So you see those hills in Santa Monica, all the places right on the beach, up on the hill right there. It's like they don't necessarily have mountains behind them, but there's going to be erosion and, like, there's going to be a slide.
You can be
terrifying.
warned as much as possible, but nobody's truly ready for a landslide deposit once it happens.
And that part of the section will at least won't be the same for years and years because it took out so many trees and forests and stuff. It's such a huge slide. 1.5 tons of debris on the road, John.
See, once again, your nature trying to kill everybody.
At least I can't blame ice. Can't blame ice for this one. We can just blame the rain. But we needed it. California needed the rain, so we got to take it. Got to deal with it. We got to cope. But please, John, at some point in your life, you lived in Sacramento. You could have gone down the coast and dropped down to Santa Barbara, L.A. What were you doing? What were you doing with your time?
It was working, which you would know nothing about.
I work all day, every day,
I was
John,
on
but
that
I still have
grind,
time.
son.
Still have time to go to the tops of the mountains, to the beach. I've got to reconnect with Mother Nature, John, because that's what I was born of. I'm Stardust, John.
Well, see, that's the thing. When I left Mother Nature's nest, I didn't need to come back. My wings were strong.
Ha! Let's move on.
We got to talk about something that just, I mean, you talk about hits home for me. You talk about cuts to the core of who I am and the things that I'll take a stand on.
Yeah, like the Big Sur landslide, like cutting out a beautiful highway.
No, whatever. I'm talking about an
important
actual
things.
tragedy. Hershey's is being sued for underfilling candy boxes.
What?
Sons of bitches. When it comes to bang for your buck, consumers are like watchdogs. Some take it so far that they even decide to sue the brand if they feel like they're getting gypped. Last year alone, we saw suits get filed against Starbucks for not pouring lattes to the brim, and another against Barilla for underfilling its pasta boxes. And before that, Subway was court-ruled to measure all of its foot-long sandwiches to prove they are, in fact, 12 inches. Now Hershey's is getting put on the hot seat for slacking with its candy boxes. In particular, Whoppers and Reese's Pieces are the subject of criticism among consumers who allege that the candy company is misleading customers. To be more specific, one man in Missouri has filed a federal class action lawsuit that alleges Hershey's has underfilled the Whopper boxes by 41% and the Reese's Pieces boxes by 29%. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, Hershey's attorneys argue that consumers are well aware of the fact that substantially all commercial packaging contains some empty spaces. The claim states that this extra space is not necessary to protect the product inside, unlike fragile potato chips or pretzels. But the brand counters this point as well, saying it is not possible to view the product packaging without also seeing the net weight and quantity disclosures. And even further elaborating that any consumer would recognize immediately upon picking up a box of Reese's Pieces or Whoppers that its contents rattle noticeably and audibly with every movement. Stay tuned for more details as the case moves forward in the judicial system.
You will be updated, 86 Charles listeners. John is pissed.
That was Hershey's very politically correct saying of, hey, fatty, shake the box. You can hear that there's space in there.
Got three things here, John, thinking about. Are you done?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
Cute little story. Okay.
It's not cute. This is a crime against humanity.
Very surprised that the man came from Missouri and not California or New York or a great state, not Oregon, not Washington.
You're surprised that this was a Midwestern man filing a class action lawsuit about candy. That surprises you?
Yeah, I'm so surprised. What do you think his weight is? How large do you think this man is? He's tipping the scales 250 plus. I'm guaranteeing it.
I mean, if he's weighing out Reese's Pieces and Whoppers, he's obviously got scales at his disposal.
He's got a couple scales. Secondly, this is very good for me in my future seed bank business because I will not ever fill a package of seed where you can hear it shake. It's going to be chock full, bro.
I don't know how you take the most serious story we're going to talk about and bring it all the way back to your fake seed bank.
Well, and I have a third one. I don't know. I don't even know if I want to go here, but I just want to say thank God.
Then don't.
Should we just say?
Then don't.
Well, I'll let you cut this out if you don't like it.
Then don't.
Thank God that.
See, now that's an awful joke.
It is a terrible
when
joke.
I initially said that, my joke was going to be that a woman must have handed down that ruling.
No, my joke's better than that.
No, mine was pretty good. Much more subtle. Who else would want you to prove that it's 12 inches?
Great. And then you could have done your little chuckle at yourself when you were done.
There's a size queen joke in there somewhere. It's much better than your...
Yeah, raunchy, disgusting, awful joke. But this is how we get over things, John. We laugh about them, okay? We get over tragedies by laughing.
I mean, not all the time. Some tragedies are just going to be tragedies, no matter how much some jerk laughs at it.
I said it. I warned you. I warned you it was going to be
You're right. No, I get it.
awful.
No, it's why I have the power to edit, to prevent yourself from being yourself.
Good luck. You don't have final edit, bruh.
These are the seeds you sow.
Jesse's favorite part of the show.
From last week.
Hello, folks.
Derby kicks off the pod with some terrifying spider information, but I guess I don't really understand what it all means. We're told how many tons of spiders there are in the world, and for context, told how many Titanics that's equivalent to, which would be a perfect thing for context if any of us had ever seen the Titanic. Maybe something a little more accessible would have been better. It's like me saying my segment is usually about 90 seconds long, or, to put it into context, about the length of 75 unicorn sneezes. Oh, great. That clears it right up. It's as clear as the air in Vatican City, circa 1850, in case you're wondering. Then we're told how much spiders eat per year, and it's a range of 400 million tons, which, for context, is not a study, it's a random guess. I think the real problem here is if spiders truly consume 800 million tons per year, that the world has 800 million tons of disposable mosquito population, which, for context, is too many fucking mosquitoes. This is Jesse, and creating context was my favorite part of last week's podcast.
Don't take it out of context. I know what's on your mind. I'm not making any progress. When they say I wanna get it right, don't take it out of context.
It's time for the Facebook World News Update. This Real to Someone News Update is brought to you by keeping your seed deposits dry. A man in Los Angeles said, "God, can you please allow prosperity and amazing health to run up and tackle my friends and family? Hashtag God, hashtag blessed, hashtag believe, hashtag love, hashtag prosperity." A woman in Somerville said, "I didn't unfriend anyone over Trump initially, but now that red hat is equal parts hate and evil. Bye."
Is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault.
Seeds can stay for many, many years. This is it. This is the vault. This is what is built for humanity to survive. This is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. It's here since 2008, built by the government of Norway. Seeds can stay for many, many years. So the seed deposit works like with any bank and a safe deposit storage in the basement of the bank. You bring your own seeds. You, as a depositing institution, you own them and you keep them, and only you can determine what happens with them. This is the main door. Seeds can stay for many, many years. Many, many years. You bring your own seeds. Many, many years. It's all frozen up because inside it's minus 18 Celsius year round. Many, many years. You bring your own seeds. The seeds can stay. And this is typically the place everyone wants to have a picture taken. You bring your own seeds. Many years. The seeds can stay. This is world agriculture behind that door. Everything you're going to need for the world to survive in terms of agriculture is safely kept here for the future. You bring your own seeds. Seeds can stay for many, many years. For many, many years. We have 860,000 types of crops. Each probe has 100 to 1,000 corns. So if you look at the number of individual grains in here, it could be close to 1 billion. Bring your own seeds for many, many years. Seeds can stay for many, many years. Bring your own seeds for many, many years. Many years.
In the event of a cataclysmic occurrence, this would stay and preserve these seeds for how long?
You bring your own seeds. You bring your own seeds. We have minus 18 Celsius in here. It would go up to minus 8, minus 7 after a few years. But then even at that temperature, most of the seeds can stay for many, many years. 10, many years, 30 many years. So you have a lot of time to think about what to do, even if power fails here and doesn't get used to that temperature. Many years. Can stay for many years.
A man in Los Angeles said, "You know how some people are truly uneducated? ignorant and clueless, but still constantly push their political opinions on you? I'm one of those. A man in California said if you post a 1-star Yelp review and your only complaint is finding a single hair in your food or a mom and pop restaurant closing 10 minutes early or being out of something, you should be legally required to house and feed a refugee family. A woman in Los Angeles said, "You know your girl is beyond tired when I turn down any food or beverage." This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by keeping your seed deposits dry.
Dad's got notebooks. We don't know what's in her notebooks. She's gonna show us all her notebooks. Little yellow pad.
This has nothing to do with Little Yellow Pad, notebooks or my writings or drawings or lists or anything. It's something totally different. But I was talking about it to someone and they said, "Oh, you should do your podcast about this." And I said, okay. So anyway, do you ever listen to recorded books? Because I usually don't, like I listen to podcasts, of course. 86 Charles. You should listen sometime. But I like podcasts, but I've never listened to recorded books because, to tell you the truth, as a kid, I always hated listening to other people read. It's strange. Like, I love to read out loud. Also because I'm I'm a little Hermione about things, probably you've noticed that, but I love reading out loud, but I also read fast, and I hated listening to people read because people read so slow. But anyway, I've kind of, I've come around a little bit, and so I got a book on my Kindle, and if you get a book on your Kindle, which you can get at 86charles.com/Amazon, you can also sometimes pay like an extra couple bucks and get it recorded, or like a recording of that book. So I bought this book about it's about gymnastics scoring. So really it sounds stultifyingly boring anyway. And I don't know why I bought this book. I read an article about it. I thought it was interesting. So I bought the book. I don't even know what it is. I'll link it on my Facebook page. Anyway, I started listening to this book, and the woman reading it is, I guess she's a good reader, but so she'll say, she reads at about this pace, and she's got some really sort of strange accent, like she accents words in like a strange way sometimes, but mostly it's fine, except for like two things, and it's driving me crazy, and I'm never going to be able to finish reading this book because the first thing is sometimes she just gets the word wrong, right? So she'll be reading along and she'll say, and the word's supposed to be like exception, so she'll instead of saying, "Oh, and then he made an exception to the rule," she'll say, "Oh, he made an expectation to the rule." And I'm like listening, and I'm like, well, what do you mean an expectation to the rule? And so I know that we do this stuff in life, right? We will just say the wrong word and just keep going. You see it all the time if you watch reality television in the ITMs, like in the moments, people constantly say the wrong thing and they just keep going because the producers don't correct them, right? But I'm like, this is like a book on tape. It's being recorded. It's supposed to be like, at least have some kind of quality control, doesn't it? The answer is no. So frequently enough that it started to drive me insane, she will just say the wrong word and just keep going. Now, I usually know the word she's going for, but it's made me I want to write a letter, but it seems mean because how much is this woman really be getting paid to do this book on, recorded book? Not a lot, but really, she's really not very good. The second thing is she does accents. So this book is about gymnastics scoring. So you can imagine there's a lot of sort of Eastern Europeans being quoted in the book, like the Karolis, for example. So, it's like, and then Bella Karoli said, and blah, 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 I only let the girls eat lean chicken and 1 grain of rice every 6 days because we can't have fat gymnasts. Something like that. Anyway, so then instead of just saying it that way, she'll say, and then Bella Karoli says, and then we let our gymnasts only eat 1 lean chicken and 1 grain rice. Okay, well, she doesn't quite do it at that level. In fact, she's trying to be really subtle about it, but she's just kind of talking along, and suddenly she'll lower her voice and talk like this. And then she'll just go back to speaking in this sort of standard American English, tone. But the part that really got to me is that there's this one part where they're talking about like the Olympics or something, and she starts quoting the Australian judge, and there's 3 quotes in the same with paragraphs. So it's like within 30 seconds, it's just the same judge is talking. And so the first quote is like, the Russian gymnast was rushing at such a speed that as she leapt off the hobbly horse, she almost hit the judge's table, and the Australian judge said, "Oh yeah, it was amazing. She was going so fast, she almost hit me in the head." Might be more like a New Zealand accent. But anyway, she kind of gives this really bad Australian accent, right? And then it goes on for a couple of sentences. And then the same judge says, "It was really sad because then we had to give her a low score. And she's really such a lovely gymnast." So then it was like some sort of like Downton Abbey accent. I don't know. And then, one sentence later, it's suddenly she's like turned into some kid from like Oliver Twist. And it's like, "Please, sir, can I have some more points?" Well, that's not really what it was, but it was really like a Cockney accent, which I'm not very good at. I'm not going to do it. The whole point was, I just want to drive to work and listen to, this recorded book so that I can, just have something to occupy my time, learn something new about, gymnastic scoring and how coaches are sort of abusive and awful to their charges. But anyway, that's not really what I'm trying to learn, but it kind of is what I'm learning. And instead of me being able to just peacefully listen, I can't help but just be hypercritical about the whole thing, which I mean really reflects poorly on me. I understand that, but I just really come to the decision I can't listen to it anymore because I'm just going to be an anger ball. And instead, I'm just going to listen to podcasts. So there you go. Easy peasy. So you can thank Teresa for making me tell you this story and letting me reveal this bad part of my personality to you, and also giving you all this illuminating information about gymnastics. Whatever. Have a nice day. Have a nice week. I'm going to hang up. I'm not even on the phone. I'm going to hang up. Click.
Many ways of art, songs raise the chart. People praise the God for kicking the flow so fantastic. And this one here, recalling the lyrical gymnastics.
I've brought bread
to men, women, and children.
I've brought water with lemon for the table.
I have hot tea.
Can I box that for you?
I'll bring your change.
Well, this episode, you're going to get a story from both of us. This is an official 86 Charles story before we were in fact 86 Charles.
Wow.
So I'm going to set the scene for you. I'm going to set the table and I'm going to let you serve the meal here, Travis.
Oh boy, that's a lot of pressure, bro.
Well, that's okay. Well, do what you can. I'll jump in and help if you need. But so we were at my job. I was working. Travis is at the bar drinking. So we were both doing what we're good at.
Ha!
And there's this guy. His name is Randy. And he's kind of all over the place, and he's kind of talking, like, I don't want to go as far as to say he's being annoying, but he's definitely demanding attention, but not necessarily in a negative way all the time. But so I'm serving Travis, I'm serving this guy Randy, and Randy's been talking to Travis this whole time, and then I think I'll let you take over from here, dude.
So I'm just sitting there, John, I had gotten off early. I was like, oh, I'll go pop in. I knew John was bartending, which means at least have some company at the bar. You're always going to expect some people at the bar, but I come in and talk to you. So we were doing Apocalyptic Times at the time, so we had to shoot the shit, whatever, talk about some sports, whatever. We had to take care of business. And this little guy comes in, seemed just like a regular LA middleman, full of shit. Just talking, blah, blah, blah. It's like, and I'm just sitting there drinking whiskey. I think it was Knob Creek that night, in fact. And Randy sits down and he starts putting down tequila pretty fast. So he's getting drunk and he keeps flapping his mouth, blah, blah, blah. I know all these Lakers, Jerry Buss, he was my boy. We go way back. And I'm not, he has rings on his fingers, but I'm not looking at the rings because I don't look at men's hands because I don't care. And Randy just keeps going on and on about, hey, Dennis Rodman? Yeah, Dennis Rodman's coming up. My boy Dennis Rodman's coming up. So whatever, he keeps talking. I was like, whatever, I don't believe it. At a certain point, another couple of gentlemen come in, little more well reserved. They kind of know that Randy's annoying. So I start talking with this guy, and he's a director allegedly. I don't know his name. So the new guys come in, and like they can tell that Randy's drunk or whatever, and they're kind of like, they're talking to him, but they're aware that he's loud and just this boisterous fellow. So I have a nice conversation with the guy.
They know who Randy is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why they were there. It was his cousin or something, literally, I think was the relationship. And then the other guy with him was like the guy's lawyer or something like that. Some bigwig. And he wouldn't even tell me what movies he did. He was whatever. But the other guy made it sound like he was a big deal, so I believed it. But anyways, we got started talking and got to Joseph Smith and amazing things, and that's when he got engaged. Like before then, he didn't want to talk about himself or movies and stuff. But when I started talking about how I knew about Mormonism and all kinds of different things, we had a really cool conversation. And then Randy's popping in and out, being blah 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 blah, and eventually.
Randy.
Eventually, 2 Lakers championships rings end up in front of me, and he's like, "Put them on, man!" And this is like, at this point, I'm not paying for anything. Randy's buying me drinks. He's like, dude, obviously has money. He's buying everybody around him drinks. There's another table of people he's going over and talking to.
He is definitely working the room.
So I put on the rings. I'm like, okay, these are legit. They're old, probably 80s, I would assume. So they're not like the new blinged out Mavericks giant all diamonds, but they're still incredible. Great weight. They've got diamonds in them. Like, they're real. There was no denying that they were real. So it's like, okay, so give Randy a little bit of credibility back. He was just drunk and happy and having fun. But still, I didn't think the worm was going to show up. I mean, Dennis Rodman was going to show up. And then sure enough, what was he wearing? Like a muumuu?
He definitely I don't know if I'd call it a muumuu. He definitely had some sort of like leopard print, like kind of pants though.
I feel like it was like a onesie that he was wearing. I can't. Maybe I was a little bit intoxicated at this point, so my story might be.
I mean, he was. I mean, he did not disappoint in the terms of like the way you picture Dennis Rodman to dress. Like that was. I wouldn't go. I don't think it was like a feather boa or anything, but he looked like Dennis Rodman.
And the dude's huge. Obviously, there's no denying that it was Dennis Rodman. As soon as he walks in, you're like, that's Dennis Rodman.
It is unmistakable. As soon as he walks in, you can.
Yeah,
tell.
and I think I didn't have much interaction with him. I think I said hi, shook his hand, and then he was off. There was women at the other table, and he started, doing his worm thing. And then I think this is where you pick up the story.
Well, it was really. I mean, Once Dennis gets there, it's like then it's an actual party. Because before I feel like it was kind of just people tolerating Randy,
right.
And then it's like, and now to Randy's credit, him and Dennis are legit friends. Yep. It's not just I know this guy from work or something. Like they legitimately go back. Like I think he was saying like 20 years or something like that. They've known each other a long time. But you can also tell that Dennis easily gets annoyed with Randy popping around all the place. Like, hey, Dennis, let me get you. Hey, Dennis. Like, he treats him kind of like a little brother. But so that's kind of the scene at this point is Dennis is drinking. People are having a good time. I interacted with Dennis a little bit. I wouldn't say a ton, but definitely enough. Like, we talked a little bit, mostly just serving drinks. I know he called me big man at least twice, which is odd because he's got like 3-4 inches on me and like 50 pounds. So that's kind of weird. There was at one point because Randy was about to get cut off and he kept wanting to do a round of shots, and so at one point I had to fake take a shot with the two of them. Because he just wouldn't let it go. He's like, take a shot. And so I literally just, because he wasn't paying attention, so I just poured water into a glass and I was like, all right, cool, we got to do it quick though. And then I just threw back a sip of water.
Can't turn Randy down like that. Just a little sip.
Well,
bro.
Dude, I had to turn Randy down. But there was one time I don't want to say I yelled at Dennis Rodman, but Randy was trying to buy him a shot, but Dennis had already said like, hey, look, I'm done. And so Randy was trying to buy a shot, and I was just like, hey, did you want one? And he didn't really respond, and I'm like, Dennis, did you want this? And he still wasn't responding, and I was just like, worm! And he looks over, and I'm like, did you want to do another shot or no? He's like, no, I'm good. But he's an interesting cat, but he was nice. Like, it was a weird night, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was just like, from the way it started with this BS. Randy didn't seem like he'd come through. I just got to say. It was just, he was drunk and excited, His boys coming out.
Well, typically the LA version of that story is some guy talking about all the people he knows and this and that, and nothing ever actually comes to fruition.
Exactly.
It's always just a bunch of talk,
How
usually.
many times have you had that conversation in a bar with somebody who's like, oh, yeah, I did this with them, and blah, blah, blah,
Dude, are you kidding me? It's like, I hear that nonsense. I even hear that in Orange County, where people will get drunk at the bar, and it's like, their story starts off like, oh, yeah, I used to make some music, and then by the end of it, it's like, no, man, I was Grammy nominated with the world's most famous producer, and it's like, okay, cool.
Oh, man.
But no, Randy was legit.
This talking about Randy, I won't get into it. I'll save this story for another day. But I've got a new Randy up here, and holy cow, man! Woo! Save that for another day. But yeah, that was a great time. One of the best nights I'd had in LA, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite LA stories.
All right, John, that was a beautiful story. Nice work. Let's give some shout-outs.
Well
Who got a shout-out to?
Well, let's go. All right, we'll start off with Deb. We'll do Deb first. Always a pleasure. We always appreciate everything Deb does.
Deb is the best, the connector.
But we gotta give a special shout-out to our man. Our man is growing up right in front of our eyes.
So beautiful to see. Big happy birthday to Jesse McIntosh. How old is Jesse now? 25?
Happy birthday, Jesse.
A ripe 25 years old. Congratulations, Jesse. You've made a quarter century.
Aging like fine Whistle Pig whiskey.
Boss hog, bro. Boss hog. So happy birthday to Jesse. Shout out to Rick, of course. Shout out to all the people listening in Singapore. Got some hits from Singapore. It's a good one.
Nice. What up, Singapore?
John, where can the people find us?
Well, if we're not kicking it with Randy, I would go to 86charles.com.
Just put the worm signal in the sky. Randy will run.
Seriously, just throw up the worm signal.
I wish that Randy was in our crew. Like, we just rolled all around with Randy, and then the worm would pop in. Because the worm, like, he's not like a crew guy, but he'll pop in every once. I could see Randy being a crew guy.
Yeah, we could get Randy in our crew, but we couldn't get Worm would be a guest star in our crew.
Yeah, he just pops. He comes and goes. The worm. That's why he's named the worm. Slithers out of situations, he's gone, before you know it. Yeah. Slides in, slides out.
He's popping up and down.
John, did you say where the people can find us? At 80.
I did. I said 86charles.com.
On the Instagram, on the Twitters, at Company Blaster. Hit us up. Send us your stories. We need more stories. What else we got?
Well, you know what? If you go to when you go to 86charles.com, you're going to notice we have Amazon banners. Why do we have Amazon banners? Because if you click on one of those Amazon banners, it takes you to regular Amazon.com. You do your normal shopping, you do whatever you buy, you get your ball gag, and then we get a little bit of scratch from that, and that's what keeps all of this running. That's how you get to hear all these awesome stories about Randy and the Worm.
That's where I got all my seed bank supplies, bro. Amazon.
See? You want to bank your seed? Go to Amazon. Just go to us first.
John, it's about that time. Let's keep it short and sweet, unlike last week. Let's go ahead and 86 something. What are we 86 in this week?
All right, so if it's got to be short, I'm going to keep it to this. I'm going right back to social media.
Oh, boy.
No more posts that say, so this happened. Go straight to hell. Nobody is anticipating anything that happens in your life. You're not Game of Thrones. We're not like, I can't wait till the next post. Nobody cares. So that just happened.
Nobody cares, Moby. Nobody cares.
The new boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs and it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me, like he's one of the family. Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights. And I see